Jumbo Africa. We're back again on the African Football Connect. Jumbo Africa is the sound, and it can never be more relevant than it is this week. When you look at what is in store, and we're coming live from the Calabash FNB Stadium. This is the venue for the second semi-final of the CAF Champions League this week. Orlando Pirates up against the Pyramids. It's going to be buzzing. It's going to be buzzing. I can tell you, just a few minutes ago with the Buccaneers, they are fired up. And I think so from there, you can just hear the excitement. But what is happening to you ahead of this weekend's game?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's definitely South Africa against Egypt now. Champions League semi-finals. It doesn't get bigger than this. This is the real stuff. This is the creme de la creme of African football, and I wish it was tomorrow. It must come. It must come. Yeah, we eliminate boys from men. Then let's see who gets to the final. Sure. And hopefully, I still hope that we'll probably be back in the final.
But when you look at this one, Greggy, I mean, for the players, this moment, but most importantly for me, in terms of the leagues, is it? I know we always move with the wind and say, I know North Africans domination, but it's a different case altogether now. As someone who played 300 matches in the PSL, now coaching in the PSL, when you look at 3 South African teams in the CAF Interclub competition semi-finals, what does it say about the league here in particular?
Very strong, very strong. I mean, this is one massive moment, everyone should cherish. And the most important thing now, it's not about Pirates, Sundowns, and Stellenbosch. The whole country should come behind the whole team. And most especially when Pirates and Sundowns are playing home, I think the stadium needs to be full, One of those days that we have the North African dominate the Champions League, and you can see with Al Ahly, they are 12-time champions, they are going for the 13-1. But we hope, we have the Pirate and Sundowns finals, but you have to go through the semi-finals first. And you can see the PSA have grown a lot, that's why you see a lot of good players want to come and play in the PSL. So I'm just so proud, and where PSA was before and now, you can see there's a big difference. And every club now taking the Champions League, the Confederation Cup very seriously, and you can see the last game in the Nedbank Cup, Chiefs and Sundowns play, and you see how Chiefs are happy they're going for the Confederation Cup. So, I mean, it has shown a lot, and people are excited to play this tournament to give you more personality in terms of the players. You have that, that have that big game temperament when you play outside the country and come back to play the league. You add value to the league a lot, So I'm just so happy, we can have the North Africa and the Southern region in the semi-finals.
Yeah, maybe this thing will also spill off to NPFL, eh?
We hope so. There's back in the days. No, there was those time Ayimba dominates. There's season by season. There's one time Ayimba dominates, won it back to back.
Yes, Onyekachi Okonko.
Onyekachi Okonko, Vicente Yama, Delia Inuba. They came out from that set. So I just hope a lot of players, will be born in this semi-finals to the finals and make their name for themselves.
There is the elephant in the room that we've seen, and CAF, I understand they continue to investigate the scenes at Orlando Stadium last week. When you look at what has transpired in the past 2 weeks with the fans of Esperance de Tunis and also the club officials and players of MCLG starting to attack match officials, and then going to fighting against Orlando Pirates staff and players. This week again, we are welcoming 2 North African clubs, but we must talk about the gentlemen, the guys from Al Ahly. Al Ahly lost 5-0 to Sundowns at Lucas Moripet Stadium. There was not even a single incident, and I don't think it's going to change this week.
Yeah, Al Ahly have suffered some big defeats in the country. I think there was one at Loftus also, not so long ago. There was no violence at this time. I guess maybe with the Al Ahly fans, the Red Devils. It goes also with the deeper understanding of the tournament. Maybe also it goes with the deeper respect that they have had for Sundowns, to sort of take Sundowns as equals now. It's no longer in 2000 where Al Ahly was there, then Sundowns was there, or Al Ahly was there, and everybody else was there. So I don't anticipate any problems. There's a lot at stake where anything can go wrong at any time. But when you look back at history, Al Ahly fans, though they are passionate and they are forceful and they are aggressive, but they tend to accept defeat when it arrives. And you must remember also that Al Ahly at this stage, they don't normally lose too many matches.
No.
Because they dominate, you know, and when that loss comes once in a while, they gracefully accept. It has been very disappointing from the Esperance fans and MC Alja not far from here at Orlando Stadium, as you say. Let CAF investigate. Whoever's been found to have done wrong, they must punish the clubs. There was also a lot of violence from the players on the pitch. I think there's video evidence now, and those players are isolated. I saw someone lifting a proper hook, him properly. I said, this one is in the wrong spot.
But,
this one can be a cruise
but still on that, and we are going to go to Orlando Pirates. Maybe let's just hear from the Orlando Pirates media officer, Thandi Murafe, as she explains the decision to come to FNB Stadium.
I think you've put the nail on the head. Obviously, getting a bigger crowd is always looks good. It's always looked good for the brand. It's good for the fans to get an opportunity to come through. I mean, our fans have been amazing throughout the entire season. We've enjoyed playing in sold-out venues, whether we're home or away. It's been like that, and we're truly grateful to them. The impact they have as the 12th man, the influence they have on the stand cannot be downplayed. It cannot be praised enough. It is simply amazing. It's outstanding. The atmosphere they bring into the stadium. And when you look at recently we played Al Ahly at Orlando Stadium, sold out crowd, amazing. That's the club with the century in Africa, one of the biggest brands in the African continent, and we played them in Orlando. We had a quarterfinal matchup, CAF Champions League again against MC Alger, sold out crowd. Amazing turnout, amazing atmosphere, and there's been so many matches that you can pinpoint, you can point out during the course of the season. Every time you ask yourself, how are we going to do it? I know I've asked myself that a lot of times, and I'm not even a player. I'm just support staff. But when you look at the fixture schedule, when you look at the amount of traveling there is, hours on the road, going up and down the continent, looking at the traveling internally here at home, different provinces, looking at the cluster of fixtures flowing one after the other. You look at certain months like April, for instance, and you wonder how you're going to make it through. We're halfway through April right now. We've played so many matches, and we're going to play so many more. But I think how we've been able to do it, as the Coach Jose has said it so many times. The players have said it so many times, because that is our ethos right now. That is our approach to everything that we're doing. We take it one match at a time. And it's not a cliche for us. It's practice. It's something we believe in. It's how we approach everything that we're doing. When you look everything in its entirety, it gets overwhelming. But when you reduce it to just one event, one match, one game, it becomes literally about that.
I guess we always know that in the Holy Weekend, Orlando Pirates very respectful. They always give space. Even in the domestic program, they never schedule a home fixture for Pirates. And I think it's fitting that it comes here. And it's an opportunity to even get more than the 35,000 people they would have gotten there.
Because over the last while, that atmosphere at the stadium is fans, each and every single game, the numbers are increasing. And also, I think the Pirates fans now, they're falling in love with it. They're falling in love with the Champions League. You know, they attend matches. They've responded very well. Players need that. They are coming to a bigger venue here at the FNB Stadium, and I hope this is a big stadium to fill. But I hope that they can come in numbers, fill the stadium. make it extremely uncomfortable for the opposition, because when you go away in Africa, you know,
It's intimidating.
it's like a city on goal.
Yeah, it's intimidating. But the Pirates players must be given credit, most especially the coach too. You know? And you know, it's going to be his last season, you know, with Pirates, and everyone wants to give him that good send off. And the players have responded very well. They have done so. This is the best four in the continent. That's why they are playing, you know, in the semi-finals. You know, and Pirates have done very well. I just wish, you know, as I said earlier, the country, it's not about Pirates alone now. Everyone should come. You know, teams like TS Galaxy, Golden Arrows, anyone that is in Joburg, you know, need to support these both teams, Pirates and Sundowns, because they are representing the country now.
And you could see the excitement. In fact, we are still coming there to Kaizer Chiefs. The excitement just of Chiefs fans and everyone associated with the club. Just the talk of returning to the CAF Confederation Cup. We'll explain it because it's not official yet. So it talks to the importance of being there. I know that previously Chiefs didn't really take the CAF Confederation serious. Even when you see that they are about to qualify for it, they would slow down so that...
Not only Chiefs, you know, teams like Vets, you know, they did that.
They would go and they just
play the youngsters. But it's not like that again now. You know, every other club now, they really want to go and dominate. They want to stamp their authority, and Chiefs is a big team. It's a massive institution, and with the CAF Confederation Cup, it's a step for a big comeback, you know, in terms of what they are doing.
And also, just to add to why now more and more clubs are taking the Confederation Cup seriously, since Patrice Motsepe took over as president,
yes,
there's a little bit more money,
yes,
there's a little bit more professionalism. In the league, it's not back in the day where there was really no value for a club to play in there. Now,
100%.
There's a little bit of value playing there now. And if you aspire to get to become a group stages Champions League team, and you're a smaller club, you've got to start there, establish yourself there, and then, you know, gradually you can go.
And also for a team like Chiefs now, you are able to attract also talent, because players, they know that they are going to the continent to play with Chiefs in that space. Unlike when they are saying, no, we're just going to compete in the league. So, and this is something that we've seen. So that is important. And also one of the things CAF introduced earlier this season, each club entering the CAF Interclub competition, even in the prelim stage, you get 900,000 rands at least. You know, so that is, you are able to offset some of the costs there.
True. And it's a good gesture. I mean, thanks to the president, you know, he has done so in terms of, you know, changing a lot of things. You know, as he says earlier on, you know, people are not interested to play Confederation Cup. Everybody want to play Champions League. And the good part again, you know, with this Confederation Cup and Champions League, you know, the more you do well, the more the league do well, you add more numbers. And you can see now South Africa have 2 numbers already, and we still have a team in the Confederation Cup. Probably they win it, and you still get another number, which can be 4, you know. So I'm just so happy. This is an exciting moment for the league, you know, for everyone involved
100%.
in the league. You know, kudos to the PSL, and, you know, most especially the teams that participate. You know, we just hope they do well. We support them 100% to do well. And come Saturday, we want to win at home and wrap it at home here. So when we go away, it's going to be easy for them.
Pyramids, how have you seen them? Pyramids?
Massive. It's, if you see the Egyptian league now, they are top in the league. You know, they have done very well. You know, although they won 4-1 in their quarterfinals and go away to lose 2, but they have already done the job at home. That's what you need to do. Playing at home is massive for you to stamp your authority. If you need to score more goals, because you never knew what's going to happen away. And they did that very well. You know, and they're very good. You know, I mean, for the first time now, they got to semi-finals. You know, so there's a little, they have good talent in that team, but, you know, Orlando Pirates, you know, they haven't considered in the Champions League. They have been doing very well. You know, take out the big guns. I think Pyramids the big guns too, but they have to do it at home, and I think they will do it.
So we go to Tshwane. I see the Brazilians, as you can see on that poster, they call it the Continental Derby. And I know those who are busy with banter, they can banter. But it's difficult not to agree with the statement that this is a Continental Derby looking at the matchups between these two teams, how they've been meeting. Just last season, they were in the same group in the Champions League, and they've been meeting a lot in the games of consequence at this level.
Yeah, I think over the years, Sundowns Al Ahly has become really one of the top teams on the continent. It's a match that has produced a lot of drama on the field. I remember the days of Coach Simba. I remember 2001, Sundowns went to the final and then they lost to that vastly experienced Al Ahly side, which was dominating on the continent.
That was Ted Dimitri, ne?
Yeah, that was Ted Dimitri. Roger Viduka, Mambush, Dalil Fire Masinel, and John Tlale. Those players. As good as they were no match to the Al Ahly side because the Al Ahly side was experienced and was dominant. It's no longer the case anymore now. Sundowns, or rather let me say Al Ahly knows that when they come to Pretoria, something's waiting for them. They say there was a time when these teams threw Sundowns, they said yes. But these days, when they draw Sundowns, they say no. We're going to Pretoria. That just shows how Sundowns have grown in leaps and bounds. But in particular for this match, it's one of those fixtures that you don't want to miss, really. It's a big match. Loftus will be packed because also the Sundowns fans just sort of respond to this big Champions League matches. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. For Sundowns, obviously, try and be business-like at home. Yeah. You don't want to travel on the back foot. Sure. Because when you go there, even though it's unlikely to be a full stadium, but you will hear them.
They've applied. Did you say they've applied?
Yeah.
In the wake of what has been happening.
Yeah, because I think CAF or whoever is in charge of that decision will look back at the instances that have been happening over the last few weeks, even though Al Ahly was not involved, but they may spill over to what Al Ahly can do. But it's going to be two extremely tough matches for both teams. The Sundowns coach, he has been there, not extraordinarily experienced, but he has been there. He has played these big matches, and Sundowns players, majority of them have been there before also. Same as Al Ahly. So I'm really looking forward to what should be a very, very good game of football.
Marcel Koller is coming to this game a bit under pressure after the result last week, a draw against Pyramids, and they seem to be on the back foot in the league. In fact, in Egypt, there's even talk now that they must try and find a coach to coach in the Club World Cup. I mean, here's a man who's going for his third Champions League title in a row.
In North Africa, there's different pressure there when you coach. And a team like Al Ahly, CAF champion, they just believe that in Africa they should be the one dominating the league. But Sundowns have done very well. They have given them, a little bit of fight back. They have exchanged coaches, they have exchanged players. Percy Tau was there before. I think he will be giving Sundowns some 1 or 2 tips. The players there.
Yes.
Because most of them they in the national team together. But this match is going to be a massive one. He is a coach that he needs to deliver. At the same time, you have a Sundowns coach that just lost this weekend. And he needs to deliver too because, Sundowns supporters, they feel like Champions League is their own because they're like the league, and the other cup, they want to win it, but getting that Champions League, going to the finals, it will be one massive, achievement for them too.
As a coach, as a technical team, how do you approach this one, knowing what can be facing you in Cairo? And we say that fully understanding that this Sundowns team has beaten Al Ahly in Cairo.
Sundowns teams, on their day, they can beat anyone. They can beat anyone on their day. It's just which of the Sundowns teams is going to turn up because the one we saw last week wasn't the one we expect, in terms of the cup game, But this is Champions League. They have big temperament players. They from their goalkeeper Rowan, to the striker Peter. I think they're massive. They have the weapons to do everything, But taking advantage at home is going to be very important because you need to score your goals, get your chances, don't misuse them. At the same time too, they need to be aware of the set piece of Al Ahly, because they strive on that. Corner kick, throwing, penalty, get the small foul here and there. Sundowns need to avoid that. But the opportunity they need to play well balanced, not to concede at home, but at the same time to win and give themselves opportunity going to the away game.
Christo, just to add, I think for Miguel, he's got a few critical decisions which he needs to get right. At the back, Divine Lunga got injured the last match. I don't think he will play. It's going to be important, Aubrey Mudiba. He has not been the same Aubrey Mudiba of old. I don't know, he's struggling with confidence and form.
So you mean this time Aubrey must go back to his original position, left back?
He must go back to left back, Divine Lunga, for me, has been probably the most improved player in Zama's team. He has been massive for the match, obviously. If he's not there, that's the one critical area. The other one, I think, Jaden Wilson to come back to the start lineup now. I felt they lacked a little bit of control in that creative department against Chiefs. And then the other thing is just to get the guys going. They didn't play well against Chiefs according to the standards that they've set. And so it's going to be important how they do that. I know also he's under pressure, this coach, because now if we're out of
let us go back there, the under pressure. The under pressure that you are talking about, and I don't want to put you on the spot to comment on this one. Are you saying you go back to the decision to release Rani to say he didn't win the Champions League? Now you revisit that talk.
Yeah, well, I mean, the talk will always be there because, I mean, let's be honest. If you look at the way Sundowns signs players, the way they are so aggressive in the market, we are not aggressive in the market to come and win the Premiership.
Yeah, no.
Aggressive in the market to spend that money to make sure that you're going to compete in the Champions League. The other thing which I forgot to mention is that Lucas Suarez. I know the coach defended him in the post-match press conference, but if we are to be honest, he's the weakest link in that game.
Apparently, it appears as if even internally there's the views on him that maybe, and especially when you had started the season with someone like Malikoza.
Yes,
yes,
so that's another critical decision that the coach has got to make, because it goes two ways. He can play him and he have a good game and then the coach looks like a genius. But if he continues to play, he continues to make mistakes, then it's definitely going to be on the coach.
And those mistakes, those mistakes are just lack of concentration. It's not like ability-wise or something. It's just, the simple pass, in football, they always say is the hardest pass. Get the ball, don't try to make the Maradona pass. Just give simple to the goalkeeper, you rotate it, which is Sundowns game, right from Rolani.
And Gran Gagano, there's a picture where Gran Gagano is actually pointing to him. Because to the keeper. And as a left-footed player, you are here, the goalkeeper is here. The opposition striker is here. You play better.
But the importance of analysis and at this level, it happens a lot. We saw how even Chiefs plotted the Sundowns downfall here. But Al Ahly, there will be more, more detailed.
And with Al Ahly, you have the season strikers. These ones, you give them sniff, they finish up. So giving them that kind of gift is like bringing Christmas in April. So I just feel like they need to limit their mistakes. And they need to be aggressive up front. You have. For me, Reynolds, Peter, and Riveiro, I think they are the deadly strikers in the league. They have proven that too in the Champions League. But there's something missing now, with the connection between them. As you say earlier, Adams must come there because the coordination in the midfield is very important, because the midfield are the ones supplying the strikers. At the same time, you want to score, but the defense must be sure, and stay compact and stay more organized. Because if you cannot be scoring goals and be conceding goals in Champions League, you cannot go anywhere with that.
By the way, I've not forgotten, guys. We did cut it. I'm going to play out your predictions. You didn't predict; they predicted. I'm going to play out your predictions. We put Avanto on the spot. We put Avanto on the spot, and now the Cup final has been decided. But I want to go back to the Paris game, the Mayele factor, because I feel that they have not played against a type of Mayele striker so far. Maybe in the Champions League.
No, for me, I think you cannot play the knockout stage, come to the group stage, and come to the semi-finals. You haven't faced top strikers. They are facing. I mean,
yes. No. I'm not saying they have not faced top strikers, but maybe how do they guide?
No.
The profile of the players. I see.
It's a different
he's a
dimension.
very opportunistic striker type.
Chances he gets, he scores. He doesn't miss. Out of 2 chances, he converts 1. He's a striker that he's coming from where he's coming from. I mean, his profile is big, he's strong, he's fast, and as you always say, this is going to be a big test for Pirates defenders. They need to stay quick, in terms of how to defend against him. He's not the only one. The stop line must come to him, but I feel he's a danger man. Pirates need to be aware of.
And also, I think there the back is going to be important. If it's Mako and Van Rooyen and Toki or CBC, they will need to guide this young man, because if he comes against a deadly striker like that,
yes,
that can be a little bit overwhelming on the board. And also, I'm sure when they are doing the analysis, he's going to be seeing how dangerous this man is.
Yes.
I don't think the night before they're just going to sleep that well.
No, but I mean, he has done well so far. He has done well so far, because he has some guidance.
Yes.
He has people that can guide him, and he has, with the games he has played, he has really, man of the match in a lot of games. I think he has done, but this is going to be a big test for him too.
No, definitely. In fact, as we conclude in the Champions League, we go to Cairo now and speak to one of the respected African football journalists from BeinSports, Fahmy, where we dissect more on what is happening on that part of the world in Cairo, because these are 2 big teams, top 2 teams in that league that are coming here as we talk about this North versus South battle, the Premier Soccer League versus the Egyptian Premier League, South Africa versus Egypt. I like the choice of the jersey you are wearing today, and you are clear about your national treasure and the national importance this coming weekend.
Yes, actually, this jersey is from the golden generation when we won the 3 consecutive AFCON titles. Actually, this one is the one worn in 2008. So I feel always attached to it.
Yeah. Just ahead of this weekend's first legs of the Champions League semi-finals, and how's the excitement, or how are people in Egypt looking forward to these weekend matches of Mamelodi Sundowns versus Al Ahly and Pyramids versus Orlando Pirates?
Yeah, actually, everyone is looking forward to those 2 games, and I think, of course, Al Ahly, because they have a larger fan base than Pyramids, so most of people are a little bit attracted to that affair, especially Mamelodi Sundowns, because Sundowns, they have been having like a psychological edge over Al Ahly over the past few years. They beat Al Ahly by 5 goals twice in Pretoria, and always going to Pretoria playing at 3 p.m. has been like a headache for Al Ahly. And the brand of football that Mamelodi Sundowns are playing, it's totally different to any other team in Africa. They know how to retain possession, how to manage the pressure, how to divide the game. Even though they had like 3 different coaches over the past few years, Pitso Mosimane, then Rolani Mokoena, and now Miguel Cardozo, but they still have that identity that we have seen against Esperance of Tunisia especially in the first leg in the quarterfinal, when they had like 80% of ball possession, which was crazy, and made everybody, in Egypt, if you had asked anybody of Al Ahly fans which club you want to avoid in the Champions League, all of them, you would have said Mamelodi Sundowns. Even last year, when Al Ahly made it all the way to the trophy, they were thankful to Esperance because they eliminated Sundowns from the quarterfinals, or the semifinals, actually. So everybody is excited about that game, and also Pyramids, Orlando Pirates, because Pirates are also experts in getting results away from home. We've seen that in Algiers, we've seen that in Cairo, even on the final match day of the group stage, when they beat Al Ahly in Cairo. So it's a tough game, and they have a group of great youngsters that everybody is impressed with. So, and also the coach Jose Riveiro is even now started to be linked to coach Zamalek next season. because everybody's impressed with his work. So yeah, both South African teams, they are in really good shape, and it's going to be very, very tough for both Al Ahly and Pyramids.
So already Coach is being linked to Zamalek.
Yes, Jose Riveiro has been linked to Zamalek. It's still very early stages. I don't think there are contacts, but some social media platforms which are very influential in forming the public opinion of Zamalek fans, they have been talking a lot about him, and that he's playing a very good brand of football, and he has been successful with the Buccaneers. So why not? We can try to get him. That's what what they are saying. And the fact that he said it's going to be his last season with Pirates made people think about the possibility of signing him. And coaches who had good times in South Africa, like Pitsu, before they were successful when they came to Egypt. So because the style of football between Egypt and South Africa is not too different. It's more technical than physical, you know. So the one who succeeds in Cairo can do it in Johannesburg and vice versa.
In fact, I saw this past weekend, I think Al Ahly and Pyramids played to a 1-1 draw, and I can see already Coach Marcel Koller already being under pressure from the fans, especially leading to the Club World Cup as well.
Yes, he is under huge pressure, and many people believe that if he doesn't get a result against Sundowns over both legs, he will definitely be in charge over both legs. But if Al Ahly fail to progress to the final, that would be the last straw for him, and that is going to be kicked out because, as you know, that Al Ahly fan bases are very demanding. Even though he enjoyed great success with the club over the past 2 seasons, winning 2 consecutive Champions League titles, but still, Al Ahly fans, that's their mentality. If they win 3 trophies and lose one, they will only think about the one they lost. So going to the Club World Cup and in a group with Porto, Palmeiras, and Inter Miami, led by Messi, a group that is not very tough. I mean, you don't have Real Madrid, you don't have Manchester City, you don't have these big clubs. So many people think that's the chance to go through. But with the recent display of Al Ahly under Marcel Koller, people are very pessimistic. They don't believe that he has got any more any ideas, any new ideas anymore. So that's why they are thinking about replacements. And some names started to be circulated in the media, like Marco Rose, the ex-Leipzig coach. He's also has also worked in Germany. So yeah, some people talk about him. Some people talk about ex-Zamalek coach Jose Gomez as well, who won the Super Cup for Zamalek over Al Ahly. So the CAF Super Cup. So yeah, people are starting to think about replacements, and it's very tough time for Marcel Koller, especially that he didn't get any win in the domestic football this season over Pyramids or over Zamalek. So yeah, he has been questioned so much.
But also still, he's a coach who's done a lot for Al Ahly, because if he wins this CAF Champions League, I think this will be third in a row that he wins. But such is the tough environment in Egyptian football that you are always held up to the latest result.
Yes, exactly. That's short-termism is the key for Egyptian football. People do not care much about planning for the future, investing in youth. They want immediate results. And maybe that's why some of the best players of under 20, whether in Al Ahly or Zamalek, they are usually loaned out to other clubs. And when they grow up and they gain experience, they are brought back. No patience. And winning 3 straight Champions League titles for Al Ahly has been always a complex because they won 2006, 2005, 2006, and then lost the final in 2008. They won 2020 with Tebza Moloi, 2021 with Tebza Moloi, but they lost 2022, the final. So this year they won 23, 24, and 25. It's still the same complex. So psychologically, especially playing against Sundowns, the general feelings that Al Ahly is not going to make it to the final.
Very interesting. And I think this is also born out of the fact that they know that Sundowns has beaten Al Ahly in Cairo and they can do it again.
Yes, definitely. And it's not only Sundowns, it's all about South African football in general.
Mhm.
Ever since I think 2019, that round of 16 game in AFCON when Tim Binkosi Losh silenced the all pack the Cairo Stadium, winning the game for Bafana over the Pharaohs. I think that moment was a turning point in the affair between Egypt and South Africa because ever since Sundowns beat Al Ahly on several occasions, we've seen also Pirates beating Al Ahly recently, Stellenbosch eliminating Zamalek, and even Marumu Gallants, like 2 years ago, they eliminated the Pyramids from the CAF Confederation Cup. And now on national level, we've seen that Chan qualifiers, South Africa winning, under 17, South Africa winning, and maybe under 20. We have it in 2 weeks' time, and we also have the senior teams will go head to head in AFCON in Morocco. So
Mm.
it's a very interesting period, and maybe that gives South African football in general some psychological edge. Some people are saying that there is a complex in the making. So I think these two ties, Al Ahly against Sundowns and Pyramids against Orlando, are very important for that assumption that yeah, there is some problem with South Africa.
I want to look at pyramids because I mean this is a big step for them because also this is the first time they are in the CAF Champions League knockout stages and to be at this stage and reaching the final would be something for them.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I believe last season was a turning point for Pyramids because they won their first ever trophy. That was the domestic cup in Egypt, and that formed a new self-belief that they can really do it. People were mocking them in Egypt. They were saying, "Yeah, okay, you are money bags. You have all the money, but you cannot buy trophies." Now they have a trophy, and this season they are in a hunt for the three trophies. They are going to play the cup final again. They are leading the league, and they are in the Champions League semifinals. They have signing foreign players. We have seen players like Fiston Mayeli, like Walid El Karti from Morocco, Shibi from Morocco, the right back as well. So yeah, they were very smart in the market, and they also have a very good coach, Krunoslav Joricic, the Croatian guy who knows how to divide the game into stages. His substitutions are always very good. He has always, he's always nervous on the touchline, but in the dressing room, he's calm and collected, and he knows how to get the best of the players. Now they have the best player in Egypt, who is Ibrahim Adel, the left winger. If he plays, because he had some muscular pains and missed the game against Al Ahly, if he plays against Pirates, I think he will be, like a lethal weapon from the left. But still, Pirates are one of the best teams in Africa who can get the results away from home. I mean, even if Pyramids get a draw in Soweto, it's still going to be very tough in Cairo because we've seen Pirates beating Al Ahly in Cairo. We've seen them winning in Algiers. So Pyramids have to think about the danger that Pirates pose away from home.
I was looking at pyramids matches and then also just their fluid style of play as well. Not that much different to Orlando Pirates, especially in the attack, which I think for me will make these two legs very interesting.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Both teams they care about getting the goals, and I think even in the game in Soweto, Pyramids will not sit back and defend. They will look for that away goal. They need to score because, as I said, they know that Pirates are very dangerous away from home. So I think their best chance is to get a result in Soweto, not in Cairo. That's the key moment for Pyramids over both legs. And like I said, it's not going to be a boring game. I believe both teams will take their chances and will look for attack. Pyramids, they have a devastating attack with Mustafa Fathi on the right, Brahim Adel on the left, Ramadan Sobhi if he plays too because he has some um, pains also in the middle, and Fiston Mayeli up front. So yeah, all the four, they are in very good form. They developed a very good understanding. They know how to cause the damage. They have the experience. They have everything, and they have the self-belief as well. So it's a key moment for Pyramids. And if they come back with something big from Soweto, even if the game is going to be played in Soccer City, a big stadium, if they come back with a big result, I believe that will boost their chances. It will be like a huge turning point for their season, and maybe they go all the way and win all the trophies.
Very experienced players in this Pyramids team. I mean, I'm looking at someone like Mustafa Fati, and I recall a long time ago him at Zamalek, and also having faced Pirates previously.
Yes, and he even scored against Pirates in
Yes.
that game. That was, I think, it was played in Nelspruit in Bombela
Bella,
Stadium.
yes.
Yeah, and Zamalek won 2-1, and scored the second goal that time. And he was a youngster back then. He was maybe 22 or 21 now. He's over 30. So yeah, times change, but quality is still there. And they also have Blati Touré from Burkina Faso, central midfield, very good player. Ali Gabret, center back, is very good in the air, even though he has become a little bit slower than before. Ahmed Shinawi, and goalkeeper, and he was also the goalkeeper of Zamalek on that game. So yeah, they have very good group of players, and they have the experience, they have everything. It's going to be tough, but it's also tough for them to come out against Pirates, who have a very good group of players. Yeah.
Mhm. They also have this interesting winger. Sometimes it comes from the bench, Sodiq Ogola. I think he's from
Yeah. Yes,
Nigeria.
yeah. He's
Mm.
Nigerian. And he's very good, and he was playing in the Egyptian Premier League as well with Ceramica Cleopatra. But he moved to Pyramids on a swap deal that saw Fakhri Lakai, the South Africa, moving on the other direction.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, and he made a difference against Al Ahly, even with 10 men. He knew how to penetrate, and he set up the goal that Pyramids took the lead with. So yeah, he's very good. They have a very good bench as well, and they have so many choices for the coach. I believe they are the best squad in Egypt by far.
Mm. When you look at Ali, because they've made some interesting signings. Benchaki, I remember him at Zamalek back in the days. But if there's one player that when he's got the right mind or he's got his head in the right place, Ashur, we've seen him scoring some important goals this season. But do you get the feeling that part of Ali is also maybe on refreshing the squad? I know they've been making some signings, but you feel that there seems to be a bit of change that needs to happen.
Yes, I think Al Ahly, they didn't find the formula that they can have the best of the newcomers with already the group that existed before the last winter transfer window. I believe, like you said, and you're very spot on that. Imam Ashur is a very good player, technically exceptional player, but you can never uh, bet on him. You can never put your money on him because you don't know if it's going to be his day, that he's going to be in a good mood, so he's going to score, set up, and do all those tricks, or that he's going to have a tough game and protest against the ref and all of this stuff. So yeah, it's going to be very tough for Al Ahly. Even they had Wissam Abu Ali. He was top scorer of the Premier League last season. And this season he struggled with injuries, so they signed Gradishar, the Slovenian forward. But it's still tough for Marcel Koller to find a formula to have the two men playing together. So even Ashraf Ben Sharki, who signed the Moroccan winger, he had like good impact on his first two games, but later on his form took a dip. So you feel always there's something wrong with Marcel Koller. He doesn't find the way that he can get the best out of the players and to put all the best names together on the starting lineup.
As we head towards the end, when you look at these two matchups, I mean, traditionally, these are two countries that have always showcased that Africa or African national leagues can retain some of its best talent. You think and also I mean, you can go traditionally to the days where the Pharaohs were winning the AFCON back-to-back, and doing that with a squad dominated by locally based players. Bafana Bafana now with a bronze medal from the AFCON, 90% or even more of the squad locally based. So these are the semi-finals that are showing a true reflection of the two strongest leagues on the continent.
Yes, absolutely right. I believe whether in Egypt or in South Africa, players get high salaries. You can lure players from so far destination, as far as South America. We've seen that players from Colombia, from Uruguay, from Bolivia signing for Mamelodi Sundowns, and we've seen uh, players who are exceptionally well technically. They refuse to go to Europe, even when they received offers, and they prefer to stay with Al Ahly or with Sundowns, Pirates, and Zamalek, and all these big clubs. Because, yeah, this is the model that I think the rest of Africa has to follow, and I think that goes with the policy or that the current CAF leadership under Dr. Patrice Motsepe, they want to adopt to keep best African players on the continent, but you have to offer them the right environment. And I think both Egypt and South Africa, they also have big markets. So they have big sponsorship deals, big TV deals, and this helps the club a lot to retain their best players. I believe going to the next AFCON in Morocco, we will see South Africa and Egypt going far, even though they are drawn on the same group. And I also believe that both countries, they have very good chance of qualifying to the World Cup. They are leading their groups, even though that South Africa was drawn with Nigeria. So, yeah, I believe the two countries are on the rise. And that's really good because if the good models succeed, other countries will follow. So I hope other countries can copy those models, pay more attention to local leagues, and not just be like an exporting academies, sending best talents abroad. No, you have to keep the guys, develop interest, public interest in the local game. And like we said before, we care more about CAF Champions League than UEFA Champions League.
Definitely.
The media also, they have a role to play in that.
We move now, and it's exciting times, man. I've never had a situation where we talk about semi-finals in the Champions League. South Africa is involved. Semi-finals in the CAF Confederation Cup, and here we're not just talking about our team, Stellenbosch FC, and I must say that for debutants to be in the semi-final, like Stellies have done, bravo. But most exciting about this as well is that we are guaranteed a South African in the final against when they clash against Simba.
Because sorry to bend, we've got Fadlu there, our very own. South Africa is just so good in frames. So I mean, it's either Fadlu will go through or Stellies will go through. Either way, you will have to South African representation in there. So it's very good. Fadlu also is following the footsteps of the great Tebza Moloi and the other coaches who have passed down. That shows bravery for a young guy. He's not that old, Fadlu. He's still a young coach, going to an environment like where he is now, to be doing what he's doing. It shows that the future of coaching in the country is very good. I mean, he's also there in that space, you know. Joking of
No, true. But before then, Fadlu have done well with being assistant. Remember, with Riveiro, he has been assistant, and they did well in Morocco, and now for him to be a head coach, it's massive. And taking that team now to come to South Africa, I think one step, they have one advantage. South Africans support both sides, but Stellenbosch, we hope, because of the league and because of what they're going to achieve going forward, the league and, the other clubs in South Africa, we want Stellenbosch to go further in this tournament, And for them, Stellenbosch to take out the defending champion, former defending champion, because right now we're going to have a new champion now.
Correct.
So I just feel like Stellenbosch, they have done so well, I mean, kudos to them, to the technical team, to the players. Yeah, it's going to be a massive one,
In fact, before we go further with this conversation, let's also hear from the coach Fadlu Davids on reaching this stage of the competition, but also their overall project in terms of what they want to achieve. Remember, this team, for the first time in 34 years, they are in the last 4 in the CAF competitions.
Yeah, of course, I've had the experience of playing against Simba in the quarterfinal with Orlando Pirates. Here playing at 60,000 Benjamin Kappa. We lost the game here at Benjamin Kappa, but we still managed to qualify and knock Simba out. So that was my first experience playing against Simba and experience what it is and the power of the club with the 60,000 fans in the quarterfinal of the CAF Confederation Cup. And yeah, so far it's what I've expected. It's a big club. It's a huge institution with fans all over the country that love the club. And yeah, they've welcomed me so well into Tanzanian life, Tanzanian culture, and myself and my family, we've settled into Tanzania, and we really love it so far. Yeah, it was very difficult for us assembling a new team with a lot of young players, players who have not really experienced CAF competition at this level. And then at the same step, we get a very tough preliminary draw, Al Ahly Tripoli. So that was really a huge test for us, where we were not yet ready tactically, physically, of course with a new technical team and a new players trying to gel everything together. And we managed to get a away draw in the first leg in Tripoli. Of course, that already gave me a lot of information in terms of the players playing in front of 40,000 fans, intimidating ultras who was singing the whole game, and that gave me a lot of information of understanding my players better. But it was a good effort in terms of the defensive display, in terms of heart, in terms of fight, and that was what was required to come away with a draw in Tripoli. Of course, the second leg, again going a goal down very early, then showed a real character of the team, sticking to the playing style, sticking to the principles, equalizing and coming from behind to win the game 3-1. And although we had a very good performance in that game, I could already identify where our weaknesses were, which areas we needed to fix, which areas we needed to strengthen with the ball, without the ball, the mentality of CAF being different to the league, and just the education of the players, how to play CAF matches, how to manage games, you know, what are teams going to do when they're at home, what are teams going to do when they're away from home, when they come to Benjamin Kappa, and just also for the players to realize playing at Benjamin Kappa is a huge advantage, where you have your fans behind you, and we've got to use that. I've experienced it as an away team coming here. It's a quite intimidating atmosphere, and how we've got to use it to our advantage. So you know, that gave us the good foundation to fix things, to also switch competitions to back to the league, improve our team, and get ready for the group stage.
But I want to come back to Stellies. A remarkable story. This, I think, he was celebrating. There was a milestone that he was celebrating Coach Steve last season. Yeah. I can't remember what, but there was a milestone, and I don't know whether it was not 100 matches, something more than that. And when you look at the number of seasons that he's been there in that team, having taken them, promoted them from the National First Division, now here's a club with a vision.
Yeah, and it also talks to the vision of the club, the Rugby club, because there were a few occasions where Stellenbosch were really in trouble. Another team could have been quick to pull the trigger and fire the guy. They've stuck with him, and it has not always been rosy for Stellenbosch. Once in a while, they find themselves with challenges. This is a team that is really punched above their weight. This is a team that are pretty much, producing players for other teams.
Yeah.
Just now, Jaden left, Fadlu went to Pirates. But to show that the system and the structure is working properly, when Fadlu left, there's somebody who's replacing him.
Yeah.
When Jaden leaves, there's somebody who's replacing him. The conveyor belt is very strong. That DDC team. DDC team South Africa is sort of the second, the feeder team.
Yeah.
It's always competing to win the league. To win the league, in their league. We talk to strong structures. We talk to strong organization, and they are a good fit for South African football. They recently won a cup. They were in the final again not so long ago.
Yeah.
So they are doing the right things. A lot of people would not give them a chance. As far as they've won in the Confed Cup, and they are here. Semi-final football is anything can happen.
Yeah.
If they do well in Cape Town and then they go to Tanzania and then you pull in you get something positive out of that environment. Boom, we're in the final. Can you imagine seeing Stellenbosch in the Confed Cup final? This is where Pirates were not so long ago. So-called small team comes and do something like that. It will be very, very remarkable for the owners of the club, the players, the coach. I've said it here before that if something like that were to happen, it would not happen to another guy. Steve Barker is
one of the things that excites me about this Stellies team is that the whole technical team. I remember we were in under 20 World Cup in 2017, South Korea. Tebza Moloi, the likes of them, Keletso Maghalwa, they were all there. Luther Singh, Coach Snong. At that time, Wesley, he was the video analyst. And now you see him sitting there next to,
and they come a long way, him and Steve, from University of Pretoria.
Together. You look at also even their recruitment.
Yeah.
You look at, I think Brandon Forey, is their scout analyst. And in fact, I listened to him just a day after they lost to Paris in the MTN 8 final this season. We were busy with the SM Sports consulting, high performance analysis and scouting symposium in the Eastern Cape. And there, the way he detailed in terms of how they are even scouting talent. You look at the players they have taken, especially from Gallants, the Ndulis of this world. You look at
Fadlu.
yes, Kiba as well most recently. Piti Mojela has been off injured. So all the components of that team, the goalkeeper coaching, Makop. Top goalkeeper coach. Now also with his home country, the Warriors qualified for the AFCON. So there's just an overall.
With Steve, he's very loyal to his technical team. As you say earlier, from Tuks, University of Pretoria, and Wesley was the team. He's a very, very good, assistant coach. And with Steve, he believe every technical team need to put an input. And if you see when you play Stellenbosch, anytime you play Stellenbosch, he is the one, make sure that everything is in order. And Stellenbosch is one team, this analyze something you talk about, analyze the opponents. They are very good in that, and they profile players they need in their team. If you see they sell a player, they replace him with maybe not the same quality, but exactly how they play, and that player grows under them, So, and Steve, he has been a very, very good manager because, as a coach, you need to improve players, and he has improved a lot of players that have been sold to other bigger teams, and they have made a lot of money for that. Their investments are how to recruit top notch, and he has been there, I think now over 7 years, So that's a good thing for a club to be patient with a coach.
Because when you come from a big result like that one, beating Zamalek in Cairo.
Massive.
massive. Yes, and you have a second leg at home. I know, Coach Fadlu, yes, we believe in you. But here we want to continue covering the CAF Confederation, and I think these are some of the factors. But what could have led? I don't really for what could have led to this game going to Zanzibar?
Yeah, I think it must be about maybe the lack of. I mean, I don't know if it can be a lack of adequate facilities. I'm sure there are.
Yeah, because Benjamin Mkapa is one of the venues. Yeah.
So it might be maybe some internal issues that are having in the country. Hopefully that stadium is of the right standard. Maybe they feel they will get a lot more support there. But it was a strange decision, or maybe to try and unsettle Stellenbosch. Take them to a place where maybe they've never been before. It's a very strange one. I don't know why they've done what they've done. Maybe they feel they can get more people there. I don't know.
Yeah, because sometimes you know Simba, when it comes to this one.
But even with Simba too, you know, even with Stellenbosch, you know, if they have the advantage, because I heard now we're playing in Durban, if I'm not mistaken, you know.
Yes.
Because I mean, Athlone could have been because I mean, all in Stellies there, you know, they know that's a slaughterhouse, you know. But I mean, wherever the Stellenbosch play, they always produce good results and they have the capability to play well, you know. So yeah, we just hope it's gonna be a very good game for both sides.
And already this season they played in Durban when the stadium was
Yes. One of the players who's impressed me in this Stellies team, and I think credit must go to the scouting team of Brendan as well, and everyone at Stellies, how they continue to track these players. But also, it was good because I saw him playing for Rivers United in the previous campaign of the very same competition, and he's brought that experience. But I think what I like with Godswell, yes, and Godswell is the power that he brings there at right back. And I see him also being a more balanced player, strong and good defensively, but also you find him in the final third.
Yeah, he adds value for them, you know, in terms of attacking wise and defensive wise too, you know, which is very important as a right back these days. You know, sometimes, you know, either you're winning the game or you're trailing the game. You know, your wing backs need to, you know, go up front. I think, you know, he has the ability. He has played in the Nigerian League and he has done very well for Rivers United. For him to be with his Stellies and where they are now, I think, you know, he has added value for the team.
And which goes back to Zizo, that, okay, we have no issues about go to the transfer room, go to get the South Americans, but balance your profiling of players, especially on the continent. And I've seen it, and I look at that Sundowns squad. If I can just add one or two strong West Africans or Central Africans in certain positions, you have a complete Sundowns team for the continent.
I've always said it, and I think history will back me here. Serious Champions League knockout stages teams.
Yes.
Always have in the spine West African players.
Yes.
We need that bite. It's okay to have the South Americans, but when you go to Nigeria, when you go to Ghana, when you go to Cote d'Ivoire, when you go to North Africa, you must bite. And South Americans, Allende, though is a very good player, but doesn't have the bite. Riveiro doesn't have that bite. You know, you can still win, but consistently, I just don't think that you do it. I mean, for the longest time, Al Ahly had a central midfielder from I think it's from West Africa.
Yes.
Very key.
Alo Dieng.
Yes, very key to that system. I always go back to Real Madrid of some years back. They had all these players, but
then there was Makalele.
The key member of the side was Makalele, somebody who held everything together. Sure. And if you don't have players like that, maybe a central defender or a strong goalkeeper or a top striker from there, the Champions League will remain.
In fact, you, as you say, so you can look back at the teams that have won the Champions League. Even the Sundowns team that won in 2016, who was there, Sumahoro, in that final, and he was very good against Zamalek there. You go back to the team of Esperance that won the back-to-back Champions League. They had some two players from one was from Cameroon. I remember there was a Koulibaly also there, strong in the midfield. You can go to the era of Ali Odieng, both during Coach Pitso's era and even after that, even also the same team. In fact, when Sundowns even lost to Wydad always had that. You go back to when Pirates also lost to Berkane, yes. There was this Burkina Faso centre back, Dayo. So it's always been there.
You always have to have that mystery because every in the 11 players you have different components, but as you say, the spine of the team is very important. The goalkeeper must be strong, mentally very good, and initiate things in terms of attacking and defending. You have a centre back, you have the midfield, or you have the striker. But in terms of that 4 players, you need to have one at least from West Africa because they are not like skillful like the southern region, the Asians,
they graft.
But they just do the dirty job. And for you to do the dirty job in terms of making your players shine is very important. People outside might not see what you're doing, but the coach and the players and the team, typical example, you have Riveiro there, doing his things, and you have a good defensive midfielder that can mark, that can do everything for him. He has the freedom now to, you not be worried about defending too much, So, but Sundowns team, you always know they want to play, but sometimes you need to mix it,
Yeah. Well, I think we've exhausted the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confed, also because of the magnitude and the importance of these semi-finals all around. I can see the bias. We are just talking about South African teams and also our brother Fadlu and Nguvu Moja. But also there's another semi-final, and importantly, this semi-final is against RS Berkane. RS Berkane, they were champions a season before, then lost to Zamalek. Last season, in fact, the champions then were USM Alger in 2023. They were champions in 2022, but they lost last season to Zamalek, and they are back again. And it was interesting. Remember the drama that happened when they were supposed to play against USM Alger, the issue that ended up at CAS.
But I mean, for this season, I think they won it twice. I think, if not mistaken,
yes.
They're going for the 3rd one now. But I think for what they are doing in the league, I think they are massive. They are the big favorites in this Confederation Cup. I mean, they have done so well in terms of the league and the way they have handled their games. They just win their games so easy. I think they have a lot of good players. It's going to be a massive game to watch too.
And it's interesting now that they've been specialists in this competition, but now they're going to
They're like Sevilla.
Yes.
Europa League.
They don't want that team of Champions League.
Yeah, it's Europa League.
But interesting for me, the coach that they have, Moishaban, he's won the Champions League twice with Esperance. Now, I'm sure he will want to come full circle.
Yeah, you can see in the Moroccan League, they're top there. Definitely, I think they're going to qualify for Champions League.
They've clinched it already.
Yeah, that's their big. 60 points. I mean, I don't head for for a very long time. I think in Moroccan League, I think for the first time they have they run away with the league.
But what are you saying on Constantine?
No, I mean they are 10th position in the Algerian League. I mean they are there by I mean, they deserve to be there, for you to be in the best 4. I mean, you deserve to be there. But I think, Berkane, they're just on that level.
On this topic we're talking about, why are the North African teams able to attract or even scout strong and better players from West Africa compared to especially the PSL here? Because I think we've got even better resources. We don't have. There's always issues in North Africa.
Yeah, I mean, but you see, first of all, closer to Europe. West Africa, their first target is to go to Europe. And in Morocco, the Algerians, they're closer to Europe,
and even North Africa is closer to them. Yeah,
closer to them too. And the other thing again, we talk about the Champions League. The North Africa have been dominated for a very long time. So, you know, when you come from West Africa, your first target is for you to play Champions League. That is your big target, you know. But for this year, for the past 2 years, I think PSA dominates in terms of where they are now. You can see the team in the Champions League and Confederation Cup. So kudos to the PSL and to the team in PSL, you know. And I just feel like, yeah, for now, there's no big difference between North Africa and the southern region.
No. We're not afraid. You know, even as we go to this semi-finals, I'm not overconfident, but I think we've gotten us to do something.
Yeah, for Sundowns, you know, they know what they are up against.
Correct.
You have to give 150 minutes of proper football. Yeah, sure. Over these 2 years. Pirates, I think Pirates are on a very good momentum now. They need to guard against
complacency.
Yeah, complacency and overconfidence. Because this team, it can turn out to be a surprise package of this tournament.
Sure.
If they are not going to do things right there, they may have a problem. You know, so I think maybe it's better for Sundowns knowing what you want to get. But for Pirates, obviously they'll do the analysis and do these things, watch videos and stuff. But this team is a tricky team. It's a very, very tricky team.
But I put my heart in Pirate team. You know, I mean, for where they have gone, you know, where they are coming from, where they are now, I think, you know, they can't let it slip.
Yeah, no. When I look at the teams that are left, and I see how Pirates has fared against teams from North Africa as well, and the potential. We were here at the Calabash. The potential of a first leg, because if it's an All-South African final, the first leg will be at Loftus. Then the second leg will be either here at the Calabash or Orlando Stadium. But I think it will be fitting for South African football that that second leg happens here at Orlando Stadium. In fact, at FNB Stadium. So I really see. It's just how you play the first legs, and then negotiate that side. But I can tell you that African Football Connect will be well represented in those games.
You know what Coach Norman Mapesa once said? It's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Well, we move now to the under-20 AFCON. And before we come to our group and just dissect it, but just looking at this group, and I was looking at it. In fact, when I got the confirmation that the groups are going to be changed, and then I was interacting with one of the staff members in the technical team. He said, thanks God.
No, thank God you're not meeting Nigeria.
No, not necessarily Nigeria. Come on now.
But that's the first point.
Come on now. Come on now.
But that is the first thing you need to avoid.
Come on now.
But I mean, you can check the whole group. I mean, there's no easy group there. I mean, there's no easy group there. I mean, well deserved. You know, whoever is there in that in this AFCON, I think he deserves to be there. You know, it's a game you play, and I just feel like, you know, the southern region there is going to be massive. You know, Zambia. You know, Zambia is that team. You always, you know, hope they can pull a surprise in every tournament. You know, even with the under-17 now, they just went out like that, you know. So I just feel like it is under-20, I think maybe they can pull a surprise.
You know, I was laughing at something. I was laughing at something before I want to go to. So Kenya has been drawn in the same group with Morocco. And you know where Kenya is going to finalize their preparations? In Morocco. I mean, don't you think there will be a drone somewhere there? Like, come on now.
When the South coach said, when Tunisia said, you can't do much. There will always be someone watching you. Because we're in the backyard.
No. I was telling another team, even here, there's a team coming to play against you here. they are training. I don't get what training first compared to South Africa, but if they are here in the country, we must see the training session.
Yeah,
well, we're not saying these things happen, but yeah. But
we're not promoting anarchy. It's called dark arts.
yeah.
it's not dark arts. No. Because us, I'm still going to Cairo. Let me not say this. Because so when I look at this group, especially the South Africa group, so our colleagues in in Egypt, they don't want to hear anything to do with South Africa. They say, it's Chad, it's you guys. It's under 17, it's you guys. It's Bafana. They still remember even the 2019. I was like, and remember, we're playing them again at the AFCON later this year. But I think for me, the opening game, Egypt, South Africa, this is the game that is going to set the tone for the tournament.
Tournament football, you win your first game, you relax. Sometimes you may even get the two draws you'll go through. Just win your first game. From our side, also the other key thing is that I think this club as a country problem is we may not have the strongest possible squad there.
But, okay, if you look at it in a different way again, how many games to go now? About 4 or 5 games to go in the league. Some clubs need to, to play for the national team, it comes once, in a lifetime, and when you are young, this way you actually, stamp your authority, to see whether you can be a bigger star going forward, And this tournament, a lot of scouts going to be there. It's going to benefit the club side, it's going to benefit the player, it's going to benefit everyone. So I just feel like with the league now coming to an end, I think there should be negotiation between the club and the...
Yeah, I think when we've been looking at the Orlando Pirates selection, and you can see how they've kept Mbogazi as a regular in that position. And also, the difference with Mbogazi is that Pirates has not had, they had Mayela, but Mayela was more of left back, but also come left back as well. But now
that is injured too.
They've had Nda as well. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is they've not had in a very long time the balance of a left-footed centre back. Now they seem that they found him, and they're sticking to him. But in one of our episodes here, we were an exclusive with Mbogazi, and he said first preference AFCON, because he says he wants to go and play overseas and all of that. But here's an Orlando Pirates that can see that they're competing on 3 fronts now. Yeah. There's 3 titles, and you can see that they are all within their sight. I don't know, because also, in fact, maybe as we talk about that, Zizo, this is the right time to introduce the legend, Tebza Moloi. It's going to be just a long one, but one of the points that in this sit-down interview we had with him, he talks about this issue of Mbogazi. It's an interview that I've always wanted to do because Mashwabane has always been there on the continent, either as a player or also on this other side as the coach at Orlando Pirates. But as we look forward to this big one, the last time this team played a CAF Champions League semi-final, you were on the bench at the time in 2013. But there's a question that most people always want to know. What happens to Orlando Pirates when they represent the nation on the continent? I remember when no other South African team had reached the group stages since 2006, and you were the last team to be in the semi-finals. You returned in 2013 to change that. What happens to Ipagania when they are on that stage?
Yes, it's a feeling that is undescribable. But me now, when I was there, the most important thing that I used to emphasize, I used to take the players, the journey that we've been through as a country, and how South African players are being undermined, not only in the continent, but in the world. And isolation has deprived the best players ever. You know, there's a South African Black 11 team. All those players have nicknames, from the goalkeeper till up to the winger. You know, if I can mention them, you'll be surprised how much that team has been engraved in my head, in my mind, and how much I follow the Brazilian football, and how long did it take Brazil to win the World Cup after 1970, what it meant to the South Americans when they won it after 1970 in the United States, and also for us when we were being readmitted, you know, when we didn't know what to expect out there, and when we were being ridiculed, being called
4x4, yeah.
And when you look at the players then that were being selected and some of us being left out, it brought mixed feelings. And whenever I go into the continent with our players, I try and give them that picture of why must we show the Northern Hemisphere that in Southern Hemisphere there's football that they've never seen. Because of, with our first friendly games, then we played the United Bank Festival games.
Yes. Lawa ushayina khona against AC Milan.
All the European coaches, they see something in us. But our African counterparts, they don't see that. So our players need to change the mindset, the mentality to understand. As a Tito or as a Relebuhi, you're not only representing yourselves, you're not only representing your families, you're not only representing the team that reached the CAF Champions League final or the class of 96, but you're representing massive giants of South African football. We've never seen Kalamazoo. We are unfortunate not to have seen Kalamazoo. We are unfortunate to have seen Harry Johansson, a first player that made it into the Leeds team. Now Lucas has made it, Benny has made it, Stephen Pienaar is making it. But in Africa, are we also knocking and proving our worth? That is why I try by all means to make them understand that it's a different stage, it's a different level, and you need to bring your A game. You don't have to be consistent because you don't play it every week. It comes once off. And I think that is what I used to excel in. You know, your once-off games, you know, like you say, Crystal Palace. Then we play, I'm not, consistent. You bring AC Milan, I shine. You bring Arsenal, I shine. So these are the games that you need to have a certain mental attitude towards them so that you know how to win them. And irrespective of that crowd, you know, I was taught to say, leave a statement where they don't know you. And that is why Pirates will always do that. Pirates understand that in Africa, we were not known. We had to leave a certain statement and a footprint. That is why Pirates will always be respected in Africa.
Coach Tebza, at the beginning of the season, of the Champions League season, a lot of people had doubts about Pirates, saying maybe they may not even go as far as they've gone now. One of the reasoning was that maybe they were a little bit thin in terms of international or continental experience. Has Pirates surprised you, or somehow you felt that they may do as well as they've done?
No, I think the people that were saying that they had the wrong notion, because of this is the very same team that got knocked out by the previous year.
Joining Galaxy.
Joining Galaxy,
yes.
Now, it is the same team that defended the treble and went to Angola, and we lost to a team in Angola having Penny, Bomoni, Bonk,
Yes,
and then we lost.
Gaborone United. I think it was 2 consecutive seasons.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now these are the boys also that have tasted the continental standards. That brings also the traveling understanding of playing at that level. So now, for me to see them go as far as they be where they are now, it's not surprising because of you get knocked out early.
Yeah.
It dents your self-belief, your standard. You become ridiculed in the country, and the next time when it comes, you really go out there to want to prove a point. That is why even with us, after being knocked out in Angola, we went all the way to the final. And people were asking, why is Pirates playing a different type of game when we are in Africa? Because during that day we played TP Mazembe, Al Ahly, Zamalek, Esperance.
Hey, TP Mazembe, that trip, eh?
You understand?
He's always down there.
I know Senzo from a young age. He used to make me win a lot of tournaments with penalties. But that day he surprised me myself as an assistant coach to see him, this boy from that, from an early age, saving penalties, but in a hostile situation like the one that we found ourselves in. But if you look at it, he was replacing the best goalkeeper in South Africa, Monique Joseph.
Yes.
And Monique Joseph had given him the blessings. So that is why I'm saying that it seems like when you get knocked out at a certain stage, it gives you that sense of vigor, it gives you that sense of spirit to say that the next time when I go there, I'm going to push as far as I can. And these are the results of always being knocked out by teams in Botswana, Namibia. The other time was in Namibia, team from Namibia, team from Tanzania. These are the things that build your character and that really now make you to say enough, it is enough. I no longer want to be the laughing stock of the South African public.
Yeah. Hey, when we talk about TP Mazembe, I remember Lamembashi would jump onto your bus because we were not sure about our car that we were driving anymore. Remember there was a car that was even burning outside the stadium as we were leaving.
I mean, it was the first time they see such resilience from a team that got a red card from nowhere. There was about 13 minutes referees off at a time. There were
Senzo saving 2 penalties.
Yeah, Senzo saving 2 There was so many irregularities that were happening, and when we left that stadium, the supporters, as much as they were being hostile to us, but they did assure us that with that type of spirit, the type of players that we have, we will reach the final. Yeah.
And having been to a couple of finals over the last while, I guess it's going to be important now that these boys must go over that mental block in a way to really try and push and go all the way. I know it's not easy in the Champions League, but you really have to try and push and win. Also, not to dampen this spirit of the coach leaving and being a celebration and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's difficult when I'm such because of the coach is a celebrated coach. How do you stop the celebration mode or the spirit that they find themselves in? I mean, it's the first time I see such a happy bunch of players. You can try and dampen their spirit, show what happens behind the scenes, like now we also have an incident of Saleng not being there, Saleng there, weekend, Relebuhile didn't start, Relebuhile starts, Tito didn't play, Tito, but all that, they know how to embrace it and show that positive face, show the positive spirit, show the happiness. I think now they understand more the badge, the spiritual owners, the coach leaving. They're taking each and everything in their strides and they're showing more maturity than all the youngsters that we've ever had at Pirates. So for not to say that maybe this might be a hamper or this might be a stumbling block for them to, you know, they've got 3 tasks at hand and we've never put them under pressure. There was never a mandate. They've reached the semi-final, they've reached the final. They beat Sundowns when odds were stacked against them. Now the 3 points from the Royal AM has been taken from Sundowns. Now the permutation, you know, changes, and you look at the type of players that you have now over the weekend. You don't start Relebuhile, and then they still perform, and he comes on with a positive spirit. You know, sometimes a player that normally starts, you put him on the bench. When he comes on with a negative attitude. You know, he's got a chip over his shoulder that I'm the star. Nobody doesn't. He comes in, he performs, and then after more, everything just, you know, it's happening with a positive spirit. And that's why I'm saying that I don't know what would be a stumbling block for them not to win or not to perform the way that they've been doing.
I remember when you beat Al Ahly in Egypt. You gave them 4. I've watched your games against Zamalek. Even you had them in the same group, and I look at your performance again this season in North Africa. What is it with the Pirates brand of football that makes, I don't want to say things easier, but and also the similarities? You must also look at Bafana Bafana when they play, whether they play against Egypt or even Morocco. Which just take them out, especially when you knock it around.
I think it's like I earlier alluded, the understanding of where you are, the understanding of what is it that you want to achieve, the level of the game that you need to bring up on the day, and following the tactics and the instructions from the coach, and also the coaches, you know, giving the players the freedom of being able to improvise, but your improvisation must be within the tactical system that has been put for the day. You know, you shouldn't do something that will hinder the progress or the performance of other players or the system that is being used on the day. So a little bit of improvisation plays a very important role, and knowing how you can do that and when are you going to do it, for as long as it will give the country and the club results.
Lastly, Coach, one of the things about you is that you have worked a lot with young players. There's Mboga's at Pirates, and also there's a tricky situation facing him now. He's a key player for Pirates. AFCON Under-20 is coming up.
And reliable,
you know, the coach needs him for Pirates to push.
Yeah.
But also, as part of his development, it's going to be critical for him to go be tested at that level against the kids of his age. You know, how do you navigate around this one?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, but I think playing for one of the best leagues in Africa, that should be his option. Yeah, I know as much as the country needs him, it's just as much as the club needs him. And first, let's look at where is the club going to, at what level is the club playing. You know, it is the Champions League, it is the Nedbank Cup, which has also a high interest, as you know that our league has been watched all over the world. So it's a tricky one, but
I will say
club comes first.
Yeah, I will say though, Coach, the tournament kicks off in Cairo. Orlando Pirates plays the second leg. And we're playing Egypt in the first game. Orlando Pirates plays on the 25th, the second leg. They go through to the final in Cairo. Well, the boy can remain in Cairo. At least even if it's for the first 3 matches, there's an agreement. Okay, remain in Cairo, boy. But once the team is qualified, you don't have to win the tournament. Once the team is qualified for the World Cup, and then a comeback.
No. So young boys, Eriko's got a lot of energy. He can manage the tight schedule.
But I think that would suit the country.
I think there's a very good point there, and Coach Tebza now realizes this point. Pirates in Cairo for the second leg on the 25th for the second leg. Amachita, they play their first game on the 27th. Is it with Pirates in the final already at that time? Is it not right just to leave the boy in Cairo?
Yeah, I think you can do it. Obviously, the national team coach and the Paris coach they will sit. I think the Paris coach will be interested in how they are going to be training there, how they are going to train them, the boys are going to be working there. So a deeper discussion between the two technical teams will happen. So also we don't overburden the boy too much. He's a young guy who can manage this heavy schedule because of the exuberance of youth and all that kind of thing. But obviously, he's not a computer. He can't run the entire time. He must be managed. If we get to that point of view that he stays over there and then he plays a few matches there, then he comes back. That's doable. It can all happen with playing. I don't know if the foreigners are putting names and what's going on there. But for Pirates, he's a key player for them. This critical stage.
This is the critical stage, and that's why also you don't want to be too much on the club because and
they are also having their own ambitions here.
Exactly, and they've been relying on that, and that's why we're bringing that element. And as a coach, you will know better when you've got a left-footed centre back that you are comfortable with now.
It gives you more balance, you're starting your build up, like the way Pirate play, you can, for the goalkeeper have options. You can play from the right, you can play from the left, and your build up can come both sides. Not like, when you have two right-footed player, so you need to adjust, and other teams, we know other teams, they analyze game now, they can, easily press you on your stronger foot, forcing you to play on your weaker foot. But with Pirate now, they can come out easily. No wonder they are doing well, both in the league and the Champions League. He has had value. He is a very important player in that team. So, but as you always say, negotiation can, everything can be possible. You just need to talk, and understanding can be there, and we see the way forward.
Because Pirates, are now going for the league now. After this complex situation as we brought up by Royal AM, they can actually win the league. Whereas, Sundowns, really never know what to get from Sundowns. And the Pirates just keep on going. They can actually push for the league.
No, they are there. And then on the 10th, there's also the Nedbank Cup final. So and that's all within that. So it's a
tough one.
It's a tough one.
I feel sorry for the boy because also we're not talking about a senior player, a person who can really,
and you don't know how he's going to react.
You don't know how he's going to react, and also you don't know if he starts to mature enough, with respect to be able to stand up for himself and say, "This is what I want." And also if he says, "This is what I want." Will he get what he wants?
No, he has to get. It's not the club. The club
has got all the options.
No, because the club is simple. It's outside the international league.
And the club have every right to keep him. You understand? Because first of all, they pay his wages, and he has contract there that national team is a big bonus. As a player, you want to play national team, but the stage now the club is now in terms of what they have achieved so far, they would not like to lose him.
In another situation, obviously, I agree. It's not his decision to make. The club will have to make a decision. Personally, I would love to see him going to get international experience, be tested at that level. Next time when he gets called to Bafana, he has played junior international football. We have had situations where we pick players for Bafana, but they've not played for junior international teams. If he doesn't go, it will be a real shame. And you don't know what you'll miss, because he may go there. A big club in Europe comes and pays the big dollar. The club makes money, but you may lose out on the Nedbank Cup. You may lose out on the Champions League. You may lose out on the. So it's a difficult difficult one, and I'm happy I'm not the one who must have it.
Yeah. I want us to dissect the squad. But before we go to the squad, maybe let's go to with him just now. He was a member of the under-20 team, one of the greatest under-20 teams we've had in recent years. Mandla Masango, the 2009 team, Simba Shaker. The very interesting team that we had there: Thulani Serero, Thulani Hlajwayo, Andile Jali, Kamuhelo Mokojo, Kemit Erasmus, Ramahlwe Mphahlele, Darren Kidd, Ayman, who was this Kandakulu, the left back, former with Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs as well. Smusiso Khumalo. Yeah, and I was watching one of his interviews like, Kalati, I never wanted to leave Kaizer Chiefs. I mean, how do we leave Golite like that? But we spoke to Simba Shaker, and this is what he had to say about the 2009 moment. Simba Shaker, you were part of the under-20 team, one of the greatest under-20 teams we've sent to the AFCON 2009. What's your message to these young boys? A very promising team as well when you look at majority of them, just like you guys in 2009, playing already in the Premier League.
You know, I was following the games on YouTube, so it was really like amazing to see these young boys and to see Emil Vetboy playing so well. And mind you, he's only 16, but he's playing for the under-20s, for the under-17. So I just wish them all the best, and I think they will do well. They will do really well. You know, we need such. It's good for our football, it's good for our development, and we must also give credit to the Stellenbosch team. You know, they have one of the amazing development structures. You know, they're producing quality players year in, year out. I hope the other teams, they take note of that, you know. And seeing Abu Tuba doing well, seeing Abu Aiden, seeing Abu Jaden, you know, the future looks bright for South African football.
Which is something very interesting, because when I look at you guys, most of the players there also had longevity and went on. You played in the AFCONs for Bafana Bafana as well. What excites you more about this young group? I mean, Fundo Vilagazi, Mbogazi, you just look around the whole team. I mean, there are boys from Cape Town City, for instance, Abu Pili as well, and they've played even CAF Confed already.
I think it's amazing for like South African youth football, and I just hope the boys will keep their feet on the ground and focus and try and better our record. You know, that's what we're hoping for. For the fact that they've qualified, I hope they can go all the way. Even if they can reach the semis, that on its own will go along.
Yeah, because you qualify for semis, you go to the World Cup.
Yeah. So you see, so I just hope they do well, you know. And most of the current players that they are there, they're already playing for their respective teams. So I think it's good. It's good.
A very interesting AFCON we had. In fact, AFCON and also the World Cup was as well. Losing in the second round in Egypt in 2009 to a Ghanaian team that had Dominic Adia, that had Jonathan Mensah, Dede Ayew, and all those players from the Ghana side moving to play in the 2010 World Cup.
Yeah, and they became big superstars in football. You know, sometimes you just weep when you look at the generations of junior national teams you've produced over the years. That most of those players never transitioned to Bafana Bafana, and most of them, club football-wise, never transitioned to become big players, not only in South Africa but over the world. It's something which continues to haunt us to this day. This team that we're going to be talking about now, that's going to AFCON in Egypt, under 20 side, it's a group of highly talented and promising young players. You know, you hope that they'll go there, do well. Some move to bigger things, some come back here and become regulars for the national team. Because it's also not that good when players come back from a major tournament and then they are not even playing for their teams.
Yes.
But it's under 17 guys that have just come back from AFCON now.
Yes.
I hope they get minutes in their clubs, because it will be a waste
Yes.
If they go back and play DDC, for example.
100%. But I think the exciting thing here, Coach Greg, is that towards this, is talking about players like Talon Smith, players like Aseko Tiwane, for instance, Champions League experience already, and regular action. A player like Riveiro Nkwali, he's been out because of his contract dispute at Cape Town Spurs, but he's played a number of matches even in the PSL. Neo Rapo, he's played this boy, CAF Confed, already with SuperSport United, and also one of the regulars as well. You look at Khamulimo Kekana there, what a player, at Sundowns, also formerly from TS Galaxy as well. Obrigado, Mfundo Vilakazi. You hear him when he talks that he wants this thing. So just overall, I mean, look at Langelihle Phiri, what a player.
You see, like these teams, you know, you have exciting players and a set of group that you feel like, okay, these are top players. But as you earlier said, it's how they go far in the tournament. Determine, you know, how their progress is going to be.
And how they play as a group.
As a group. Because sometimes, you know, you go to a tournament, you go out in the group stage. I mean, really, you know, you can't really, you know their name, you know, as individual, but as a team, you can't really speak about them. That's why most of the successful, you know, a group of players that go for this junior tournament, like the under-17. Under-17 in South Africa now, they're going to the World Cup, which is good. And that team must be monitored. That team must, as you said earlier, they come back to their club, give them minutes, you know, show them that appreciation. They represent you very well in that tournament, and they're going to the World Cup now. The under-20 is the massive one because it's in between the senior team, under 23. So you have to make sure that your eyes is on them. You know, I'm going to be very, very happy if this team can qualify to the World Cup.
Because for me, if you look at the Orlando Pirates starting lineup, for instance, right now, you've got two 20-year-olds, Relebuhile Mufukeng and Muhaungota. You know, and you know where they were? They were in the under-20 team, both of them. With Mdu Shabalala and them, and Wandile Duba, that failed to qualify for the AFCON. But you can see the experience they've had, so it's still there. So that is the beauty of international experience, but also the ability for South African clubs too. I mean, Paris is defending with a 19-year-old. You know, so this tells you, and also if you go back to the AFCON. In fact, to the COSAFA, when this team qualified, 6 wins, 6 clean sheets, and winning all their matches. You know, so at least now there's something to build on.
Yeah, true. You know, but you know,
obviously it's a different level at the AFCON.
It's a different level, and you know, with the players, not every club will be like Pirate, and not every coach will be bold enough to play is 18 years old or 20 years old, you know.
Because I don't know, at Sundowns now, I don't even see Litako.
In that position, the centre
Coach
back.
Mangoba was giving him a run. And, you know?
True. Yeah.
So if Pirates gets to a final, we'll have to check the stats. Yeah. Bogas will probably be among the youngest players to play in the championship final.
Yep. Well, I think on that note, it's been good. Just quick predictions for this week.
For me,
it's the first legs. You don't have to be too much.
The first leg is very important. Very, very important.
Yeah,
for me,
just quick.
Pirates Sundowns winning.
Winning at home.
Win at home.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know, but winning at home, I think it's possible.
I'll go with Greg. I'll go with my coach.
On that note, we say, Jambo Africa.